Morning guys, how you doing? It's Matt Haycox here. It is Sunday the 27th of June, here for my weekly roundup. This is, what are we on? This is weekly roundup number 4 actually, and this is this is definitely a world first for me. I'm down, as you can probably tell, I'm down in the cabin of my boat. I'm on the sea squirter. It's Sunday morning. I'm recording this at 10 to 1 local time, 10 to 1 for me in France, and it's a good friend of mine's birthday. Her and her boyfriend and son's girlfriend are upstairs, and we're just sailing to Saint-Tropez. I say that not to be smug, but just to say that you're going to have to forgive any noise or any moving around that's going on, and also don't ever let me hear any of your excuses about not having time to squeeze something in. Because if I can squeeze this in for 25 minutes whilst I'm bouncing around at sea, then you guys can definitely find time to record your podcasts, to start a podcast, to make a video, whenever that may be, whenever suits. Because I always say, I'm always telling you, don't overthink, don't worry about overproducing. Just get out there, start recording, whether that's video or audio or whatever else. So I can hear the bow thrusters moving right now actually, so I hope I've got my headphones on, which I don't normally do, but I've got these on so that hopefully you can hear me a little better. Anyone who wants a sneak peek of my bedroom, by the way, this is where the magic happens. My little pink dressing gown, sofa, this is my work desk, my laptop, my Father's Day card from Harley, transported its way all the way from England to Mykonos and back here. But look, let's get on with it guys. Anyway, let me pull up my notes on my computer. So like I say, Sunday the 27th of June, 4th time I've recorded these now. Obviously getting better at making the habit of doing it every week. When I recorded this for you last time, it was Sunday the 20th. I was in Mykonos. I just unfortunately got this pink monstrosity in my hair at the time of recording. I think I'd literally just finished doing my hair and then I recorded the video, but luckily every time I wash my hair a little bit more comes out, so it's not quite as prominent as it was last week. But I don't think we'll be seeing much more of this in the future. But I flew from Mykonos to Marbella last Monday, 6 days ago, and I went down to Marbella because I had some customers to see. A couple of customers of mine from England, probably my 2 biggest customers actually. Guys that I've done a lot of debt finance for, and I've probably had a 10 year with one and nearly 15 year with the other business relationship. So I went to go and get a bit of FaceTime with them while I've been in Dubai and in France. We've still been working together, we've still been doing deals, but there's nothing, there really is nothing like getting FaceTime. Real FaceTime, sharing a dinner, having a drink. And I think we've talked about this in previous weeks, and I always talk about how I went full 360 with the whole work from home Zoom type office setup. And as much as I advocate for efficiency and getting things done as quick as possible, a massive part of business for me is relationships. I always say that my best successes, my best deals have always come from having fantastic relationships with the people that I've done them with, and I wouldn't have those relationships if I didn't get face to face with people. So it's been a tiring few weeks traveling around, meeting people. I actually always hate using those words because again it sounds like, oh my god, I'm so tired. I've been to Mykonos, I've been to Marbella, I've been to Cannes, and obviously I think people probably sit and think, what a fucking dick. I always I describe myself as a very sociable, antisocial person. And by that what I mean is, I love to meet people, I love to build relationships and talk and hang out, and I very much understand and appreciate the building those relationships. So when I'm with people, I can be very much on duty. and have fun, and and be sociable and talk, and get done what I need to get done. But I do love to be on my own, to have some peace and quiet, and read a book, watch a movie, do some work on my own, whatever that may be. So the last couple of weeks have been been kind of mentally draining, seeing everyone, but it's been good fun. Like I say, I think the takeaway is just that importance of of getting face time to build some relationships. Also, when I was in Marbella, I met up with somebody who does a lot of fundraising for me. Helps me raise debt for our finance businesses. And I think the takeaway for you guys from that is the importance of understanding how to raise money. I've talked about this a couple of times lately, not so much on these weekly roundups, but just in general in videos. And I often get asked, what is the single most important skill that you should have in business? And I always find it a bit of a trick question, because there isn't just one skill. But business, like anything, like any sport, you can't win at tennis if you only have an amazing forehand. You've got to have the backhand, the volley, the serve, the fitness, the mental preparation, etc. It's very much a rounded thing. But I guess like in tennis, if you don't have a great serve, then you're always going to be on the back foot, probably never be able to ever ultimately win a match, because you've got to have that kind of power of the serve to be able to set yourself up for the rest of the game. And I think if there was one thing that was super powerful for me in business, it is the ability to raise funds, and it's something that something I've always been very, very good at. I've raised funds, whether it's $5,000 or 5 million quid, for the last 20 years. Literally since my very early 20s, I've been, I've very much built my success upon my ability to know how to raise funds from people. And I think it's impossible to scale. I'm trying to think of a business you could scale without having the need to raise funds, and I honestly can't think of one. Certainly not in a short space of time. Maybe if you've got decades and decades to do it organically with and pass it down the family generations. But look, if you want to scale rapidly, if you want to take advantage of the opportunities that are there in front of you right now, you're going to need capital to do it. And I'm sure 99.9% of people listening to this, and people in the world in general, haven't got a trust fund, haven't got access to dad's bank account or whatever it may be, and you've got to you need to be able to go out there and raise funds from banks, from other alternative financial institutions, from investors, from suppliers, in whatever creative ways that may be. Oh, you can see this is rocking now. We're starting to move a bit more. So I think if you need to develop one skill, you're very well, then that for me is something that you really need to spend some time on. In the vein of fundraising, something else I've done this week is I've been working with one of my existing investors who is tied into a deal that we're in, and his circumstances have changed in the short term, and he could do with some of the capital back out of the deal that he's got with me, and I worked quite hard this week to bring in a new investor to refinance him out. I tell that story because ultimately this original investor, he's a sophisticated high net worth investor, does multiple seven figures with me, and the terms of his investment are very clear that he doesn't get it back until the end of the period. But his circumstances changed, he needed some capital, and as much as it was a headache for me to raise this money for him and to get him repaid, the long-term benefits to that relationship are immeasurable now. Given how over the moon he is with what I achieved for him. And I think when I talk about you need to develop the skill of being able to raise funds. A key aspect of being able to raise funds on a repeat basis from the same people all ultimately comes down to how you treat your investors. When I say investors, that could be individual investors, it could be banks, alternative financial institutions, whatever it may be. But your success at doing repeat business with these people is going to be down to how you treat them. And this is a debate I have with a lot of my customers. Well, a lot, but I've got 2 or 3 customers again who I do regular business with, who I would argue treat their lenders, treat their investors almost with contempt. I mean, maybe contempt's too strong a word, but they certainly don't treat them with any respect. And their attitude is, well, these guys are getting high returns, or there's big upside in the deal, so that so they need to take some pain along the way. Now listen, let's give a real example of this. If someone borrows secured debt from me, and let's say they're paying 2% a month plus some fees, they're going to be paying 25 to 30% per annum. Okay, that's not cheap money, but that's a deal that we all went into on day one, knowing the terms of the deal, knowing the rules of the game, the rules of engagement. If that's a 12-month deal, then my whole business model is budgeted on the fact that I need them to repay me in 12 months' time. If it gets to the end of 12 months and they don't repay, then I probably have problems further down the line, because, like I said, my cash flow is based on that being returned. I probably have investors in that deal who again are expecting their money to be returned on time. And what will happen very often with customers when I turn around to them and say, right guys, it's the end of your 12 months, time for that money to come back, and they want to just say, oh, I need to extend it for 6 months, I need to extend it for 12 months. I said, well, that doesn't work. That doesn't work for me. You're causing me a problem. And these guys will very often turn around and go, what are you moaning at? You're charging me a fortune. You're charging me 2% a month. Whatever the figure or whatever the story may be. But look, the bottom line is that's irrelevant. Whether I'm charging you 2% or 20 a month or 22% a month, we entered a deal that we all knew the rules of engagement on day one. And if you're not going to uphold your end of the bargain, it's going to make it very difficult for me to uphold my end of the bargain, with my funders or within my business or whatever that may be. And ultimately, I'm going to have a bad relationship with you. Now, yes, look, obviously, if we don't get repaid on time, we have the ability to take enforcement action against these customers, to take their properties back, etc., etc. So I'm not worried about the situation. That's what I'm not telling you the story like that. But what I'm telling you, that if you want to raise money repeatedly, if you want to raise money from the same people time after time, or even not the same people, just different people, you need to develop a track record for doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. And for me personally as well, that's something that's obviously always been so important to me, because a lot of you guys know my story that I went bankrupt back in 2008, and lost all my mainstream relationships overnight. My credit rating was shot. My public profile was in tatters. So it was impossible for me to raise money from banks and building societies and mainstream institutions. So the only people I could really raise money from were private investors, individuals, friends of friends. And I can only do that by being a man of my word and doing what I say I'm going to do when I say I'm going to do it. And I really, really very much put my success in raising money down to the fact that I will walk over hot coals to deliver to my investors what I said on day one I was going to deliver to them, whatever the cost is. Whatever the cost of that is to me. If that means if a customer of mine's let me down, and that means I can't pay my investor on time, I will happily, if I need to, borrow money from somewhere else at a more expensive rate to make sure that I repay my investor back on time, because I want them to know that when they put their money with me, I'm going to perform, I'm going to deliver. Because like anything in life, there's a lot of competition out there for all things, and any investor who invests with me, any lender who lends to me, they've got the ability to put their money in a million other homes. So I need to make sure that I am a quality home for their cash. And for me, like I say, I've got a couple of people in mind right now that I'm telling this video to, so that I'm thinking of when I'm making this video for you guys. People who have actually good business models, and I could do a lot more business with, and they could do more business with other people, but they just have this arrogance, this contempt that, oh well, fuck you, I'm paying you a fortune, therefore I'll pay you back when it suits me to pay you back. They say, oh, you've got security, what are you moaning at? Well, it's not about that. Like anything in life, business, personal, whatever, when you make a commitment, you've got to deliver on it. So that is, I think that's a very important thing for me this week. Just having a look at my notes. What else have I been doing on here? I've been banging heads a couple of times this week with some of my heads of departments. Primarily to do with recruitment. You guys who've listened to a few of these now will hear me week after week talking about how this week I've been recruiting. That's because every week I'm recruiting. But we've got departments within our businesses that are very short of staff, and I'm putting a lot of pressure on these department heads to get recruiting more people. And it's just not happening fast enough. It's not happening fast enough for me, and to be honest, it's not happening fast enough for them. We get to the end of the week and we have the same conversation over and over again. I think for me, if you're a head of a department or you're a business owner, trying to talk to your heads of department, and this is going to be something that I have every Monday. I have my weekly calls with with my key personnel, with my heads of department. And tomorrow I'm very much going to be talking to these guys about how they need to treat their department like a business in itself. If you're the accounts department, if you're the marketing department, if you're the sales department, if you're the operations department, whatever you are, you need to understand that you've got customers and you've got suppliers. Now let's use the finance department as an example. Their customer is the board, is the managing director, is the investors, people, stakeholders that they need to deliver these figures to. So they're your customers that you've got to keep happy. So when you're not delivering your figures on time, you're letting your customers down. Your suppliers will probably, I guess that's your staff that work for you within the department, that plug into you, other departments, other stakeholders, other providers of information that will input into your accounts, into your KPIs. So you've got your suppliers, you've got your customers, and to run your little business, you need staff for it. And it's always difficult because you've got to strike that balance between, have I got the time to deliver upon what I'm doing, or have I got the time to recruit so I can make the department bigger? And again, I'll talk about this time and time again. If you want to grow your business, if you want to scale, you need the staff. And whether that's me at the top of the tree as an investor wanting to bring in key hires, or whether that's a smaller department needing to bring in even the tea girl, the photocopier. You've got to take one step back to be able to take two steps forward, and you've got to find the time to recruit and train these people. Otherwise, not only are you not going to move forward, ultimately your department, your little business is going to break, because you're going to get more and more pressure put on it. My accounts teams, my marketing teams, my whatever, I'm not taking the pressure off. I'm bringing more pressure on. I'm giving you more businesses to do, more businesses to work for. I'm giving you more more marketing tactics or techniques that we need to implement. I'm not going to take the pressure off just because you haven't got the staff. You need to, you've got to find these people. So like I say, whether you're a department head or whether you're a business owner, I think that's an important concept to get across. To have a little look at my notes and what else I've been up to. I mean, to be honest, that pretty much sums up my week of last week. Like I say, building relationships, travelling, working on fundraising and you know, working very closely with my biggest customer. Sunday the 27th of June, I'm back in Saint-Tropez. I am reading. I've not had oodles of time to read this week, so I've not got a book that I've finished, but a book that I'm halfway through is Total Recall by the Terminator himself, Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger. I haven't read it enough to be able to tell you much about it, other than it's Arnie's autobiography. You know, I love reading autobiographies, only of people that I'm interested in, obviously, and again, for me, people that I'm interested in are normally business owners or certainly very successful people. And I think, you know, what you'll find about any successful people is most of their success traits are portable across all different sectors, you know, but that's why, you know, there's always the analogies of sport and business, because so many of the techniques that are needed to be a successful sports person are applicable to business and vice versa. And Arnie is an all-around legend, isn't he? Obviously, Mr. Universe or Mr. Olympian or whatever it was, you know, world-famous actor, very wealthy guy. What a lot of people don't realise actually is that Arnie was actually a multi-millionaire before he'd even made his first movie, because of his successful real estate investing back in Austria or wherever it was he'd come from. So yeah, interesting book. Yeah, I like autobiographies in general. I'm also listening to an audio book at the moment. I've been listening to it while I had my massage this morning. It's called The Bitcoin Standard, and I can't even say this guy's name. He's called Saifedean Ammous. That's Saifedean, and then next word Ammous. It's about Bitcoin, obviously, but we haven't even gotten to the Bitcoin section on it, because all the first chapters are laying the fundamentals about the concept of money and the differing monies through time and stores of value, you know, and the importance of scarcity, etc., etc. Very, very interesting, because I guarantee you that 99% of people, myself included, I don't understand this anywhere near enough, but I understand it a lot more than most. But you know, people just don't understand how money works, how money's devalued, and how, you know, ultimately centralized governments can and will, you know, fuck you, devalue your assets over time. I'm not saying this from a political perspective, doesn't matter where you are, but if you want to be wealthy, if you want to have wealth over time, if you want to have generational wealth to pass down to your kids, you need to find asset classes that you can store that in. And to think that you're going to keep it in cash in the bank, you know, in a developed economy is naive at best. So very, very interesting book. Very interesting book. But listen, guys, that's it for me. Kept it a little bit shorter than usual, 22 minutes. I'm going to pop upstairs and go and enjoy the noise and see my friends and enjoy their birthday. Thanks a lot for watching this. I do really, as I always say, enjoy and appreciate the comments and the support that you guys give me, and I love your feedback about what you do and don't like, and what I can do better to help to help serve you guys. And these weekly roundups have been, you know, pretty much my most popular videos to date, my most popular podcast to date. So yeah, I do appreciate that. But look, please keep telling me what you need me to do to make it better for you. Obviously, I can't plan specifically what goes on in my week. I can only talk to you about it at the end of the week. But I hope you're going to keep getting value from it. If you're watching this as a video, press like. If you don't already subscribe to my YouTube channel, please subscribe. If you're listening to this on the audio version on iTunes, on Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts, please leave me a review. It really helps me. It'll only take you 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Like I said, so many of you guys send me happy, positive messages that I would really, really appreciate if you could make them public. So if you don't follow me on social media, Matt Haycox, TheMattHaycox, you'll get me on everything, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat. You won't get me on Tinder, not on Tinder. That is another story in itself. But have a great week, guys, and I will see you next week, which is going to be Sunday the 4th of July. Take care. Have a great weekend.